we're happy to give you confirmation that your inner being exists and that you have access to it and that you are receiving the vibration of it and you are accurately translating it. Our encouragement to you is that you have fun with it. There's not something that you are assigned to do with it. It has come in response to your personal requests and will be whatever you want it to be as long as you want it to be it. There's not some assignment. There's not something that you've got to do. There's not something that Source even wants you to do. It's just you finding alignment, and it's for the fulfillment and satisfaction of that which you want. The interesting thing about trying to explain this is that this is a vibration that is not words. And so the words are found by translators like Esther and like you. And so when you are receiving a vibration, you'll find words that match that vibration, especially if you're willing to continue to do it. You will find words that match the vibration. The vibration is the same. The words will be uniquely yours. The translation is uniquely yours. What Abraham is Esther's verbal translation of the vibration of Abraham. Everyone has access to this. Everyone has access to infinite intelligence. Everyone can get into the receptive mode. Everyone can release resistance enough to get into that frequency where you can begin to receive and consistently do it. Yeah. Esther is auditory. She receives the vibration and translates it into the word equivalent. Some are visionary. They sense the vibration and translate it into something that is visual. More and more and more and more are finding themselves in the receptive mode. You just gotta accept that there's more going on than what you can physically explain. You're brilliant and beautiful, but the whole bunch of you haven't managed to scrape enough dirt together to launch another moon into orbit. There is a consciousness that is large and that is larger than the physicality that you know. And so when you begin to get your thoughts around that by exploring vibration, and by exploring vibration in the only real way that you can understand it, which is through emotion, and then tuning yourself by caring about the way you feel emotionally to the frequency of that which you are, the clarity that then begins to come forth is undeniable. You just don't question when you get tuned in to that frequency, you see. This alignment, it either is or it isn't in the moment, depending upon what you've got going on vibrationally. But once you catch a piece of this, and once you recognize it, and once you begin to do it on purpose, and once you tune yourself deliberately, and once you care about the way you feel, and once you meditate consistently, and once you allow yourself to keep your vibrations in check, and once you care about the way you feel, and when you feel things getting a little emotionally out of whack, you do something about it. Once you begin to gain control of your own vibration and the momentum becomes something that is really consistent, then you become a consistent enough translator of the vibration that you yourself don't doubt it. In the early days, Esther would say, Abraham, am I speaking clearly your words? And every single time our answer to her was yes, even though we knew that her clarity was going to get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. Not once did we say, yes, you're doing good, but it'll get better, because she would have focused on what's wrong with what I'm already doing. In other words, it just gets better and better and better until in time, if you were say to Esther, Esther, do you have an inner being? She'd say, yeah. And does your inner being have a name? And Esther would say, the best name that they've been able to give me is Abraham. And you would say, and who is Abraham? And Esther would say, well, my understanding is that it's a collective consciousness, and that has been my experience, because sometimes the conversation is very broad and sometimes it's very narrow. Sometimes it's general, sometimes it's specific. Sometimes it's about the mass consciousness in general. If you said to Esther, are you sure that you're receiving Abraham? She would say, there is no question whatsoever within me, because the clarity that comes through me when I'm in alignment with Abraham is profound and wonderful and unmistakable and undeniable, you see. But it wasn't always that way with Esther. In the beginning, she'd say to Jerry, did that make any sense? And Jerry'd say, oh boy, did that make sense? You need to listen back to this recording. It made more sense than anything that I've ever heard. Esther listened back. Didn't make sense to her, because Esther wasn't channeling Esther. Esther was channeling Abraham. Now, more and more, what Esther knows and what Abraham knows are very much the same thing, because Esther listens back. Esther applies. Esther wants to understand this, you see. But getting tuned in and being in the receptive mode, you get all kinds of information that you are not really practiced in. That's all right. That's how you know when to go buy the lottery ticket. You see what we're getting at? When you tune into guidance, that guidance is real time and you can trust it. When Esther first began receiving us, she didn't have expectations about us other than she had heard the expression spiritual guide. She didn't really know what it meant. It didn't fit in with other beliefs that she held, and frankly just felt weird, the idea of it. But the idea was enough of a path of least resistance to her that it made her curious and made her want to know more. And so as she meditated and in the process of meditation quieted her mind, she managed, without even knowing what she was doing, to bring her resistance level way, way down, which made her vibration raise way, way up. And in that process, she began receiving us. And at first, she thought it was her own thought because she was translating the vibration into thoughts. And so it was her terminology. So it didn't feel amazing. It felt normal. And the normalcy of it sort of threw her because it just felt normal. When she started writing it or speaking it out loud for Jerry to read, he didn't find it normal. He found it amazing. But to Esther, who was in sync with it at the time she was receiving it, it felt normal. Esther would come off of a platform like this, and she would say, well, that was fun. And Jerry would say, it was fun, and it was incredible. And Esther would say, how so? Because to Esther, it just felt normal. Until she listened back to it and realized how fast her mouth was moving and how fast her mind was translating and how much information was coming forth in a very short time. So is it more fun to go slow or fast? It's more fun to go slow if you're out of control. Esther got into her little Audi R8, and we promise you she had no intention of going slow. It sits low to the ground. It is aerodynamically engineered. There is close to no resistance. The transmission and the engine combination in that thing. It is the most energizing physical experience that she has ever experienced because the creation of it is an example of close to no resistance. She found that she's been driving around in these big buses where when you go around a corner, you got to slow way down. Not the R8. Don't need to slow down. She decided to test it to its limits. How fast can I really go around this 45-mile-an-hour curve? 45 seems ridiculous. In a bus, yes, but in the Audi R8, no. In other words, testing the limits. She spent hours one night out in the middle of the desert, all alone, taking that off-ramp and then driving the 5 miles to turn around, then taking the off-ramp again. And she figured that if she crashed and burned, she wouldn't bother anybody because there was nobody else around. She wanted to know, how fast can I take this 45-mile-an-hour corner? And she knew when she'd reached her limit. She could tell that's the last free pass she was going to get. She could feel, because the dynamics, the physics of this time-space reality showed her under these conditions on this track, it's a highway, on this track, in this car, under these conditions, this is as far as I best go until they devise an even better car or an even more experienced driver. There are a lot of variables there. So that's what you're doing. You're testing your limits. So when we ask the question, is it more fun to go fast or slow? There's no right answer to that, really. Conceptually, fast always feels better, provided there's no resistance. But if there's resistance so that fast makes you uneasy, then you want to slow it down. And so the answer that we want to come back from you is, Abraham, I'm not looking for fast or slow to be the right answer. I'm looking for alignment to be the right answer. I want to go as fast as I can go and not crash and burn. That's really what you want to say. I want the energy to go as fast as it can go and me not offer resistance. So if you've got a belief that has a lot of resistance in it and you beat the drum of a desire, you're setting yourself up for a tug of war, because as you amplify your desire, given the resistance that you hold, now there's more resistance within you and you're not having a fun ride. And so we don't ever want you to believe that your work is to slow down the desire, because you can't really slow it down. But don't try to amp your desire faster than the boundaries of your resistance. Can you hear what we're getting at? The true work is in the releasing of resistance. The true work is in meditating. The true work is in putting your feet in the bay. Your true work is in getting outside and finding yourself happy with nature. Your true work is anything and everything that you can do to bring yourself into alignment with who you really are. So you heard us say that the source within you, your inner being, knows where you are in relationship to everything you want, and is giving you the information that you need, is revealing it to you. You just got to get in the receptive mode. And the path of least resistance, the only reason that there is resistance on your path is because you put it there. But no worries, Source can always get around the resistance that you've put on your path. So every now and again, Esther will say, Abraham, that was just remarkable, and that was just unbelievable. She doesn't mean it's unbelievable, because as it happened, she's now believing it. She just means this was formerly unbelievable, and even now it's happened, sort of hard to believe. And we say, Esther, we keep your earth spinning in its perfect orbit, in perfect proximity with other planets. We think we can guide you to a scratch-off ticket. You all just make it harder than it needs to be. In other words, the money could be directly downloaded into your account. You wouldn't have to go through the gyrations that you go through if you believed it. Was it so specific, or was it engineered to get around the resistance that you had in place? Ooh, hear that. It was engineered to get around the resistance that you always have in place. There's always some resistance. It's okay. It's okay. Just try not to wallow in it. And because there's a part of you that still thinks that that was a little bit of chance. In other words, sort of random, and the lottery ticket sort of random, and all sort of random, and nothing's random. Nothing's random. You're good. You're just letting it in as best you can. But when you have experiences like that, and you acknowledge them, and you make the correlation between your desire and your emotion and the inspired action that came as a result of that, before long you can begin to chart a very specific, very cognizant, aware pattern of how it unfolds. And everyone here got it. In other words, it's really easy to understand that.